This episode of the Gourmet Goober podcast was recorded before the racially motivated shooting in Buffalo on May 14, 2022, where 10 people were killed and 3 others were injured. Our hearts go out to those affected by this senseless act of violence. Everyone, this is JJ Outlaw.
Hi, this is the Outlaw.
And we are back with a new episode of the Gourmet Goober podcast. You can always catch me, JJ Outlaw, at JJ Outlaw on Twitter. Make it easy enough for you. I'm always on the gram, as the kiddies say, at Gourmet Goober. And every episode, I am here with my best bud, my main dude, that squeeze, that fresh squeeze.
What am I, am I lemonade?
You're living fresh.
Lemon fresh.
Living fresh.
What do I look like, Pledge?
My hubby, a.k.a. T Outlaw. How's it going?
Think it's going well.
Every so often I say things to, like, shock you.
Yeah.
Or at least surprise you on mic, and you're just like, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah, you can find me, Poppin' Fresh,
I was trying to avoid saying that.
on social media at T Outlaw. That would be on Twitter, TOUTLAW, I can spell, and on Instagram at T Outlaw Josie Wells, like the movie.
Yes. You can always see us anytime checking out old episodes, recipes, old past media events. You can sign up for our newsletter, which is coming. Woohoo! At thegourmetgoober.com. And you can drop us a line anytime at thegourmetgoober@gmail.com. If you're on Facebook, which I highly advise you not to be for many reasons, they're hella problematic. But, you know, if you want to check us out when you're looking up your mama and them, then just go to the Gourmet Goober blog, because, as you guessed it, we start off as a blog first.
Yeah, because your mom was doing dirt on Facebook.
Well, not my mom. My mom hates social media. She thinks it's like the devil's handiwork.
Don't put my name on Facebook. Yeah. That's your family.
Yes. So we want to thank everyone for listening. And I am super excited because this is sort of a special episode for a number of reasons. The main thing is that we decided to do something a little bit different. So if you're like a regular listen to the show, and we're glad if you are. If you're new, hey, how's it going? We usually divide our show into 3 segments. The first segment we affectionately call How Was Your Week, where we talk about our week, right? And share with our listeners things that have happened that are significant with our lives since the last time you heard from us. The second segment is What's Eating Us, and that's when we get in the crux of what our show is about, the intersection of food and pop culture. And then the last segment is usually where we excitedly share the best thing we ate this week. So the first segment, we usually go individually first. But we decided to do something a little differently because this week, or this past week rather, we celebrated our 17th wedding anniversary.
That's right, 17 years. 17 years.
Yes, I can't believe it. And just to kind of give you guys a heads up, for those of you who may be new to the show, First of all, yeah, we are married. So
For 17 years.
If you haven't yet guessed that, we're husband and wife. You know, maybe the last name kind of was a clue, but yeah. And we've actually been together longer than that. It was so funny. I forget who we were talking to. Oh, wait, I think it was the woman at dinner. Because we went to dinner to celebrate on our day of. Yeah, we were explaining that we are married 17 years. We dated for 6 years. So technically, we were together for 23 years. And then we were best friends since 93. So we worked it out that next year, oh my God.
We'll be ancient.
Next year, it'll be 30 years that we've been in each other's lives.
Think about it. Almost 30 years.
Our entire adult life. In some form or fashion, you have been here. And vice versa.
You've seen me when I have had hair.
You've seen me when I was slightly smaller.
I'm the same size as I was in college.
And that's depressing.
Okay. I'm wearing the same size jeans. Maybe I'm not exactly the same size.
I am not wearing the same size, but you know what? It's okay. It's more to me to love.
Mm.
I have determined that I am not plus size. I am juicy, and I'm owning that.
Yeah, you are thicker than a Snicker.
That's true. So, we thought it might be cool because we can certainly share the details of our week, but since a lot of what happened is like tied to our anniversary, we're going to focus the bulk of the segment on that.
Yeah, we also just didn't want you to hear another story about our pets.
Well,
that's overkill.
Including the doggy producer. I mean, we have to talk about the doggy producer.
No, we really don't.
He's the producer of the show.
Not every episode.
Okay, not every episode. And to be clear, we had other things that happened since we were on mic last that wasn't tied to the anniversary. Like, for example, and I think we'll talk about it later, Friday the 13th hit, and I'm a huge horror fan. So we had a chance... maybe we'll address it later on the episode, but I got these fabulous Friday the 13th cupcakes from my favorite cupcake place in the whole world, Designer Desserts. They have, little Jason hockey masks on them. They're great. And every year they do a new one. Didn't they have, one where you stab it and, jam came out of it like blood? It was great. I'm a twisted person in that regard.
Were you or were you not, speaking of 17 years of marriage, just on your wedding day, weren't you watching horror movies?
Yeah, I was. I was binge watching horror movies. I actually watched Friday the 13th. And I also saw, oh my God, it was a Saturday we got married. So yeah. And everyone, I apologize because I thought I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, so that was me. But yeah, I was binge watching horror movies the day we got married. And then my mom made me switch to, because my mother was horrified, and she was like, isn't that bad luck to watch slasher films before you got married? And then I pointed out that Gothica was not a slasher film. And then she didn't like that. So I wound up watching this People magazine, special they had on celebrity weddings. And this is true, with the exception of one couple, our marriage outlived all of them. So take that, Star Jones.
Just as long as I'm not Al Reynolds, that's good. Do you remember the one couple that made it?
Sadly, I don't want to talk about it, but it was Orange Julius and his latest wife.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're not going to discuss that.
Wow.
Yes. And I am not going to say his name because he's like Voldemort. He should not be named. But yeah, I did do that before our anniversary. But here's the thing. So the other day I was going through my email for something, and I found this really cool recording that we actually taped as a request of another podcast that sadly is not in production now, but it was a really brilliant show. It was called the Relation Sips podcast. Shout out to Claire D. She had a really great show about Black love and all the nuances for that. So if you guys can go back and listen to the show, you certainly can.
She couldn't afford that H.
It's Relation Sips. It's with wine. Sips. It's a play on words. You didn't know that?
I'm slow on the come up. Okay.
All this time, you never knew.
No, I did not.
Well, anyway, Claire reached out and she asked some podcasters to share the story behind their relationship. And we were actually one of the ones that were selected. It was actually pretty cool. And so she did this like long-term, or no, it was like this short form audio play where, you know, our interview was intermixed with other people's interviews as well. But I thought it might be cool to like play the audio of what we were asked, and sort of share that, because I think, particularly for new listeners, it kind of gives the crux of who we are as a couple. Plus, I also found it fascinating that we recorded that before the pandemic. And being sheltered in place for so long with someone, because you learn a lot about someone if you're like in the house with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, working from home. I think if anything, that really made our relationship even weirder and better, if the case may be.
Yeah. Secrets.
So what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to do this segment a little bit different. So we'll play the video. I mean, I keep saying video. Obviously, there's no video. We're going to play the audio. And then we will chat a little bit afterwards as well. One thing I do want to mention before we go into the rest of the segment here is that I know that for listeners for last week, I mentioned the new Doctor Strange film, right? And Big Daddy and I did see it. And I was on the Act Right program. He's laughing. Why are you laughing?
I liked how the tone kind of changed. As soon as she mentioned Doctor Strange, it was like,
I get excited talking about you too. I just see you every day.
But all of a sudden, Doctor Strange shows up. And her, her mood changed with a quickness. I see how this goes.
Well, you know how I feel about Benedict Cumberbatch. So, I wasn't that excited.
Yes, you were.
That said, I know we had promised on the last episode that we'll talk about it in a future episode. This will not be that episode. One, because the movie just came out, and one of the things that I solely was pissed off about the movie was there were so many spoilers out there. Like, there's a segment of the movie that took the joy away from the moment, because it tried to tie by it, and I tried avoiding social media and everything, and I accidentally had it spoiled.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want to be that person who spoils it for someone else. So we won't chat about it. But on the next episode, we'll talk about it. And in 2, I'm a total Marvel nerd, and I could go all day.
Blurred.
And I don't want to take away from the spirit of the segment. So yes. I will be a good girl and not mention it.
Today.
But next podcast, yeah, it's on. It's on and poppin', as the young kids say. Okay, so we're going to take a quick second. We'll play the video and...
Oh, yo.
Why do I keep saying video? Clearly there's no video. And if even there was, this is a podcast, so you can't see it.
Yeah, think about it in your mind. take our faces and put them on a video of, like, I don't know, like a TikTok video back and forth, and imagine what, is being played.
Oh, no, not TikTok. I have tried TikTok, y'all.
Once again, showing our age.
Okay, we're going to take a quick I'll play the segment now, and then we will chat about it when we come back. Hi, everyone. My name is JJ Outlaw.
And my name is T Outlaw.
And we're the co-hosts of the Gourmet Goober podcast. So how long have we been together? That's like a good question.
How long have we been together? As friends or as in a relationship?
We've been best friends since 1993. And I would say we've been, a couple for almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years. Wow, it'll be 20 years this May, our anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah, because we dated for 6 and 5 or 6 years. And we have been married since 2014.
2005.
Yeah, it's 2005. We've been together so long, we don't even know.
There's no we.
Apparently,
I know my marriage date.
Apparently, it's me.
Yes.
So, do you remember how we met?
Okay, that part I absolutely positively do not know.
I happen to remember how we met. We met in college. We both went to Ball State University. It's kind of a funny story because our roommates went out on a date.
And we were each other's wing person.
Yes. So I don't know what persuaded you to go, but I was persuaded to go because the date was at Ben & Jerry's and I wanted some chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. And I remember specifically that we got into an argument over who was the best basketball player. And you're like a Michael Jordan fan and I was loyal to Reggie Miller. And you insulted Reggie Miller. And I just remember thinking, I never want to see this clown again. How dare he? And then the next year I wound up being your RA.
Yes, you became my resident assistant. And at first I wasn't sure how I felt about you as a person because you were a Reggie Miller fan, but you also were an adorable person back then and still are.
Yeah, I liked even though you're a Bulls fan.
Yes, I follow the rings.
So, do you remember our biggest fight, actually?
Our biggest fight? Once again, oddly enough, it was about basketball. It wasn't a loving basketball type situation, but we were fans of our respective teams and of basketball, period. But our fervency for basketball started our biggest fights.
Actually, I do remember that fight because it was in I think it was in 1996. We've been together forever, y'all. But it was in 1996. And it was when the Bulls was on that historic 72 win run. And the only team that beat the Bulls twice was the Pacers. And I called and I talked smack to you. And you didn't want to talk to me for a couple days.
Yeah, did I hang up on you?
You hung up on me. And we stopped talking to each other to the point where our friends had to negotiate us getting back together.
We had to negotiate a very deep truce.
So we try to live to those rules to this day where we have to treat each other with respect when our teams play each other. I don't know how much we adhere to that because it turns out we're also opposite fans on the baseball spectrum too. But you know what? Not everyone's perfect.
Yes. Apparently she keeps picking the wrong sides.
Hey, I picked the winner. It was your fault.
We win eventually. All we do is win, no matter what.
Anyway, what would you say we love most about each other?
What do we love the most about each other?
Yes.
Well, the best way I can explain it is we are both flawed people. We accept our flaws. And the reason I love the gourmet goober is the person is because she loves me despite my flaws. She accepts my flaws. She respects my flaws. And she will feed my flaws some days. But the most important thing is that she is my best friend, my best foe, and she's cute.
Wow. I would have to say the thing I love most about T is the fact that he is truly my best friend. And as you can imagine, in over 20 years, there's been ups and downs in our lives, and he's always been the voice of reason. He's always been there to make me laugh. He's there to hold my hand when I'm scared. At the end of the day, there's no better person to be with. And even though he's a Bulls fan, and I can't convert him no matter how hard I try, he is truly the bud to my Rudy.
My name is Kenny.
Your name is Bud.
Roll with it. But yeah, we basically are old souls in somewhat young bodies.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah. That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Okay, so first, we want to thank the amazing Claire D of the Relationships podcast for allowing us to record that segment. And again, that segment, I think, was recorded, before the pandemic. I know that much. I think 2019, 2020?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a while. It was definitely cool to look back, since, again, we recorded that before the pandemic hit. So, just listening to that segment, and I know that was the first time that you had heard it in a while. Do you have any thoughts or anything you want to add? How weird was that, hearing us talk about us?
Am I that, very, my drawl, am I just that wooden?
I didn't think you were wooden, but here's the thing. It was funny, because we listened to it as well just now, and you were telling me you sound like Greg from Abbott Elementary. And I looked at you like, you are Greg from Abbott Elementary. That scene where Greg talks about all the food he would like to eat. I remember we were watching that, and I looked at you like, you wrote that, didn't you?
One of the good things about our marriage is that the Gourmet Goober has actually, this entire podcast is basically based upon the fact that I started off my marriage not eating a lot of different things at all. I was very rigid in my military, standing with food. And throughout the years of our marriage, my standards have... We're just going to say I opened up my food capacity a little bit more.
Oh my god, this phone is possessed. I'm so sorry. That said, the military standards of your food, as you were saying that, okay, alright. I'm going to paint a picture for those of you who've seen the movie. Toys. And LL Cool J's character in Toys. That is all you need to know about Big Daddy. And obviously the podcast has different meanings as well, besides convincing you to eat other food. But if you've seen the movie Toys, there's this really hilarious scene. And it came out when we were in college, remember?
Yes.
And you told me you were like him then. That should have been my first clue, y'all. But there's a scene where LL Cool J goes to lunch with Joan Cusack.
In the commissary?
In the commissary. And he's upset because, the mashed potatoes touched something on his plate. And he's a military man, and he likes military food, and he likes everything separate.
Yeah, dividers.
Dividers, and they shouldn't touch. Now, see, that should have been my first hint. So years later, when I found out that you didn't eat gumbo with rice in the gumbo, that was terrifying for me.
Once again,
who does that?
Let's just clarify. I eat gumbo. I eat the gumbo mix, and I eat the rice, But let's just say that they didn't always get eaten, like even with shrimp Creole. Sometimes I would eat the Creole, I'll eat the shrimp and the rice, but let's not say that they all are eaten together at exactly in one bunch.
It's hella disturbing, y'all.
Yeah, I have separatism
really
issues.
Disturbing. And I'm not sure if I would have married you if I knew that then. But as
the world turns,
as the audio just said, we love each other despite our flaws.
That's one way to put it.
So, looking back, is there anything else you want to add?
The pandemic was a trip, y'all. I don't know if there's anything like magical. I mean, after 17 years, I guess one of the things that has popped up in my head was the concept that, as we said a little earlier, we are old souls and young bodies, somewhat young bodies. Now we're, old souls and older bodies. But for the most part, basically the same. Sometimes you just have to understand that life is short and you have to enjoy things as they come, as opposed to always thinking of what I can and cannot do. And I think that's the thing, is that I'm trying to work on my evolving relationship with the goober and to enjoy the simple things.
Yeah, I have to say that I'm still surprised at learning things about you, even after all this time. Big things like when I see you try something that I've never seen you try before. Little things, well, I guess it's not little things about, for example, realizing how you truly see Purple Rain.
Wait, what?
Purple Rain? Okay. I you don't have to share what you got me. But for his anniversary present, because we both love Prince, there's this immersive thing that's opening up in Chicago. Next month it's called Prince the Immersive Experience. So it's this incredible project that's put together by a Chicago-based company in Paisley Park, where you can experience the Purple One in various ways. And we're both big Prince fans. And one of the things that we were talking about just the other day when I gave him the gift was I reminded Big Daddy that we both love Purple Rain, but he and I do not see the movie the same way. I see it like most people see it, where it's a movie about Prince. You see it as the time it's the good guys of the movie, and Prince is the bad guy.
I forgot who the person was that had the listing of Purple Rain as such, where this marvelous funk band was upstaged by
this petulant.
I'm sorry, yes, it was a petulant upstart, who had daddy issues.
And I was like, you know what? And we were together for over a decade before I realized that's how you watched the movie and how you saw it. And I was like, dude, I'm not really sure if I would have stayed with you if I knew that sooner. So again, it is possible to learn something about your partner all these years later, but that's actually a great thing, because that means that you don't fall into a rut and that you're always looking forward for the next thing.
I think the other thing I'm sure that has evolved in our marriage that drives the goober crazy is the fact that sometimes I have what I call slightly contrarian thoughts. Not so much saying that I disagree with everything, but just I sometimes, to be objective, I have to look at contrarian thinking, and it drives her up the wall.
Well, like I said, no one's perfect, which is why you cheer for Phyllis, I know, secretly on the Young and the Restless, and I do not.
What's wrong with that?
That's an example of your contrarian thinking.
I mean, more of the soap operas.
Sorry. That's an inside conversation that we've been having recently. We don't need to let y'all in on everything.
Yeah, I mean, soap operas, yeah, that's the fun part about them is that, yes. Also, yes, I watched soap operas from, like, age 10 to, as I am older now.
Well, clearly I watch it, too. I referred it to it.
Right.
I just liked it that you planned your classes around it when we were in college.
I plan my work schedule around it.
But the point I'm trying to make is that it's cool that we still feel the same after the pandemic, which was a test, I'm sure, of a lot of couples, but more so because we live together. Obviously, we have our individual work schedules and projects that we do, but we come together for the Goober, and it was really nice listening to that video. So, again, I cannot thank Claire enough for allowing us to do that project and for the listeners to allow us to indulge in sharing it with you, because I don't think that's something that I played for the listeners before. So, yeah. What do you think has been the best part of us being together all these years?
That there are people in the rest of the world that, I don't know, hasn't been, are not affected by me.
What? So what? My job is to keep you from other people?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, yes. Think about what I could unleash upon the world if you had not, gotten me to, calm down.
Okay.
No. What?
Not sure how to handle that one.
No, things I know now is that, things I have learned is, sometimes you just have to understand that, I see more and more of, how our parents, our parents' relationships, how they evolved and grown over the years. And I think our relationship, as I'm starting to see it now, is growing and evolving, as you said, as you see things, I'm changing slightly and you're changing slightly, is that, I can see that how, our parents' relationships evolved. Our relationship is evolving.
But that's a good thing, though, right?
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Well, I have to say that I still feel the same as I did when I left the podcast. Or not the podcast, but the recording that we did back then about how you still are my best friend. And at the end of the day, there's no one else that I would feel more blessed. I can imagine feeling more blessed to be with. Even certain English gentlemen who have glorious purposes.
Nope. Not gonna talk about that.
All jokes aside, though, seriously, thank you for just, just thank you for just being that person who's always there.
I will introduce this though. In relation to the pandemic, I will say that one of the biggest things I have learned is about security. And in security, it's like knowing who has your back. That is one of the biggest things I have learned in terms of relationships, not only with the Goober, but also other people. As you've seen things in the past 2 to 5 to 10, maybe longer years, you learn the people that you keep in your inner circle who are, I guess you would say, in lockstep with you, that will not only be your friend, your lover, your wife, your family. There was a difference, I know, and the Goober can explain it better, about the difference between being an associate, an advocate, and an accomplice. And that's the thing, like, you gotta know who's willing to be, like, you know, the Beyonce to your Jay-Z, who basically is willing to drive the getaway car. And that's the thing, like, you gotta know who has your back. And I think that's one of the truest forms of what I have learned in the last few years, is knowing who will be that person. And I would like to believe that the person sitting next to me is that person.
I don't know if I would call it Beyonce to Jay-Z because we don't have that kind of money yet.
Okay.
But I get what you're saying. And you're still the Rudy to my Bud.
My name's Kenny.
Your name is Bud.
My name's Kenny. Anyway.
So we're going to take a break, Bud. And when we come back, we will talk about 3 stories that cross the intersection of food and pop culture. You are listening to the Gourmet Goober podcast. We will be right back. Hey everyone, this is JJ Outlaw, better known as the Gourmet Goober, and I'm here with some fantastic news that I couldn't wait to share. The Gourmet Goober podcast will be launching our first official newsletter this fall, appropriately called Gooberland. It'll be your place to find interviews, recipes, and other exclusive content just for our readers. Sign up now to be a part of its launch again in fall 2022. You can do so by clicking at the link in the show notes, or you can visit us at thegourmetgoober.com and sign up there. Thanks for listening. Now back to the show. Hey everyone, I'm JJ Outlaw.
And I am T Outlaw.
And we are back with the second segment of the Gourmet Goober podcast. That's when we talk about the 3 segments that kind of make us think and perfectly encompass that intersection of food and pop culture called What's Eating Us. This week, we have 3 hilarious stories. Well, I find them hilarious anyway. Anyway, that we couldn't help, or couldn't wait rather, to share it with everybody. So, this first story actually is kind of like a continuation of something that we had talked about before on a previous podcast. And that is Crocs.
No. Crocs?
Yes. And I know what you're thinking. Crocs, right? I mean, first of all, let me just make a statement. The Gourmet Goober is not belittling Crocs in any way, even though she chooses not to wear them, because I find them confusing.
No, let me be the one who berates Crocs.
Big
Why?
Daddy does not like Crocs.
No, those things are the devil.
Okay, not the literal devil.
I don't know who came up with that concept, but that's for people who gave up.
Dang. Okay. All right. We'll talk about that offline, because clearly we're not going to get Crocs as a sponsor of the show.
Yeah, no kidding.
Plus, need I remind you that some of our favorite chefs and people wear Crocs. Not counting Mario Batali, because that whole thing with him in the restaurant is kind of creepy. But everybody else, we've known quite a few foodies we admire who wear Crocs.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I once saw my boss, or former boss, like wearing Crocs in the office, and I had to tell him to his face, no. That was quite unprofessional.
Wow.
Yeah, I told him straight to his face, I'm like, no, I can't rock with you, bro. No.
Well, okay, so clearly the target audience, rather, for this next story is not you.
No.
And this is the fact that Crocs is continuing their partnership that they started some time ago, which we talked about in the show, between Crocs and a food-related company. In that case, it was KFC. Now Crocs is actually launching a partnership with General Mills and Foot Locker to create cereal-themed Crocs.
Why?
Because some people want to rock that Cinnamon Toast Crunch on their feet.
No, they don't. They really, really don't.
All right, well, check this out. The company teamed up, according to USA Today, to design both classic and all-terrain... Wait, they have all-terrain Crocs? What the hell is all-terrain Crocs?
I don't know. That's a good question.
But you can get these clogs designed with gibbets, as they call them, little charms, that is either in the style of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Trix, Honey Nut Cheerios, and Cocoa Puffs.
There are so many jokes I want to write, but why?
The shoes will retail anywhere between $45 and $70. And they will, like I said, come with the gibbets, that's the charms, that are shaped like berries, cereal logos, and sugar or cinnamon toast squares. Right now, the only ones you can find in the store are Foot Locker, Kids Foot Locker, Champ Sports, and East Bay. And they come in men's and kids sizes only. The other flavors will hit the shelves in July. Now, I don't know if they smell like the cereal.
I sincerely hope they do not.
However, this was a partnership that they announced last week, and it follows a partnership regarding, like I said, the Kentucky Fried Chicken one. Remember the one where they had giant pieces of chicken giblets? So it literally looked like a bucket of chicken on your feet.
I'm just thinking of, I'd harken back to that story, and I think about, like, chicken grease, like, coming out of there are too many, like, horror movies coming from this that I envision, but yeah, this I guess this cereal thing almost sounds like something that Jerry Seinfeld would be involved in.
Oh, snap. Apparently they also had a partnership in the past with Hidden Valley Ranch.
Oh, no.
So you can get a ranch.
No.
Okay. Everyone knows I love ranch, okay? We have a whole episode where we talked about the magic of ranch, okay? Growing up in the Midwest, ranch is kind of like the de facto condiment. Okay. We put it on pizza, we eat it with carrots.
The de facto salad dressing?
Yes, you put it on salad. It's salad dressing. It's a dip. It's ranch, right?
Fair. But what type of ranch?
Well, if you're like Rap Snacks and with the Migos, all of their snacks with a touch of ranch. It's my dream to meet the Migos because they get me. Offset you and you guys with the touch of ranch. Y'all get me. But I don't want to numb my shoes.
I agree.
So, okay, I guess asking this first question is going to be kind of hard for you.
Ask nicely.
Would you consider wearing a pair of cinnamon toast? Oh, no. Honey Nut Cheerios, because you can get down with a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios. Would you wear it on your shoes? Would you wear it with your Crocs? If you guys could see his face.
Okay. There's a chicken before an egg.
Okay.
Or an egg before a chicken. So, like, I guess my question really should be, like, if a cereal brand became involved with a sneaker brand, would I wear it? Possibly.
So if it was like a pair of like Air Jordan Crocs or Air Jordans with cereal.
Yes.
Okay.
If you had Jordan brand, Nike, Adidas, Reebok, Fila, you can, pretty much Under Armour, if they got involved with making sneakers that were, in collusion with cereal, I would probably give it a go now, with varying results. But I think you pretty much stop, like, the door closes directly at the Croc name. Like, right then and there, I'm like, I'm out.
by wearing. You're not at all offended, right, about wearing the bowl of cereal. It's just the Crocs.
Yes. Like, I am not a person who wears, like, sandals or flip-flops or anything like that, but I would... Oh, God, I'm starting to hurt here. Yeah, I would rather wear sandals that have a relation to cereal than Crocs. I can't. But the better question really should be, would you involve yourself in this chicanery?
Okay, I gotta say.
Take a breath. Think about it.
Woosah.
Yes. Get it out.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm confused by Crocs just on GP. Because I don't... I've worn clogs before. I love clogs, right? When I was a little girl, clogs was kind of my thing. They were functional. You can wear them. If someone gets on your nerves, you can throw them at them like a chicleta and knock the hell out of them if they're wooden clogs. Don't ask me how I know. Clogs are style and a weapon. I grew up in a rough neighborhood, yo.
Apparently so.
But anyway, I digress. But they didn't have holes in them. They weren't plastic. Like, I don't get the whole idea behind Crocs. I don't at all. So I would not wear them no matter what's on them. But you know what? If given a choice between wearing Crocs, like if someone said, look, the fate of the world depends on you wearing these shoes, okay? I know you don't like them, but just humor us. Thanos is going to come back. He's going to snap everyone out of existence. You know, the Doctor Strange baddie is going to come and get y'all. The only thing that's saving you is you're going to have to put on a pair of Crocs. In those situations, because I'm a super nerd, I would wear the Crocs. But even then, if between the cereal Crocs and the ranch Crocs, I'm offended fundamentally as a human being, down to my soul. I don't care who was rocking them. Sweetie. Yeah, it's rapper Sweetie was their their spokesperson for the ranch Crocs. But
you were better off with the mascot discussion. No offense to Sweetie. But
no, ranch Crocs just offends me to my very soul. So if in a situation where it was literally life or death, and the only way I can think that would actually happen is if Thanos was real and he came after you, then yes, to save your life, I would wear a pair of cereal Crocs. But other than that, no.
Okay. Good to know. So, as for T-Outlaw? Okay, apparently I can't snap my fingers quick enough, but snap me. I can't do it.
So you're just like, look.
Deuces.
JJ's just gonna have to die. Dang.
Yes.
I love you too.
It was a good show.
So far, since we started the podcast, I have learned that if it came down to a bobcat or force you to wear Crocs, I'm just gone.
Also the alligator.
I love you too. And I definitely wouldn't pay $45 to $70 for them. That's insane.
Better go find the Walmart brand. Especially with something with holes in it. I'm like, better get some oil used up in that piece.
Well, I understand that one of the reasons why people wear them is it's supposed to be like effective for limiting foot odor. But, you know, there's like Dr. Scholl's powder for that. You don't have to like stoop down to that level to wear them. But let me ask a question. Is there anything they could add? Like, what do you think? Okay, let me change that up a bit. What do you think their next partnership would be? I'm seeing Reese cups. I'm just thinking for Halloween, they're just going to have like a giant Reese cup themed Croc.
I'm sorry. All I can think of is Kraft single cheese.
That is the single most disgusting thought I've ever had.
And the idea of Crocs involved in anything gives me the same exact feeling that you're getting right now. Sorry, you see where my borderline goes.
All you listeners out there who like Crocs, we're very sorry. We're not.
No.
We're
no,
not
the
looking
gourmet
to
goober
insult
is
you.
sorry.
We don't want to shut down our listeners.
No. Once again, the opinions of T Outlaw, Chelsea Wells,
does not reflect the opinions of the Gourmet Goober, the Gourmet Goober podcast, Plum Good Media, or Gooberland, the newsletter.
Yeah, if you're a Croc lover, yeah, good to know. That's it.
Well, hopefully you'll have a better response to our next story, because this is something that just tickled me to no end. And it's regarding Chicagwa, Chicago's latest and greatest marketing tool, tap water.
Tap water.
Tap water. Now, wait a minute. First of all, let's get it straight now. This is Chicago, so we have to say it with a Chicago accent.
Okay, hold on a second. Now I'm intrigued.
No. I was going to ask you to do it because I actually don't have a Chicago accent.
You don't have a Chicago accent.
No. But you do it really well, like the brats and the socks. And...
Okay, so just because I grew up like close to Chicago, so a Chicago accent.
Okay, let me first of all just take a step back. I really don't have any accent, and that's because...
You have an accent. I can't quite take it, though.
The accent has come out in the last couple of years, but remember when you first met me? Okay, I'm old enough, you guys, that when Big T Outlaw and I met, and I think we mentioned in the last segment, we met in college, right? When we met, I was studying broadcast journalism. And it used to be that if you had an accent, they actually had you take classes to try to eliminate them as much as possible. Because the whole idea is if you're on camera, back in the day, the thought was that you had to fit in no matter where in the country they were watching you. Now that's changed. So you youngins might have noticed when you turn on the TV, you hear people with like a Southern accent or what have you who are like on national news programs, but that wasn't the case back in the day. So to be fair, I don't really have any accent. I mean, I've had people who approach me and they're like, where are you from? And part of that is because I took that class. But yeah, you do it much better than I do. So it's Chicagwa. See, it sounds like I'm quacking.
Chicago.
See? There you go.
I didn't know I popped that off. Okay, Chicago.
There you go.
I'm sorry. I'm like, hey, go see the Sox, the Cubs, the White Sox. You know, you get a couple brats. Yeah, you hang out. I didn't know that was an accent.
See, there you go.
you know the Bears type things.
And it comes out of you so naturally. That's the thing. It's ridiculous when I say it. The Bears.
I have a couple Polishes. It's not a big thing.
So anyway, Chicagwa is the latest from Mayor Lightfoot and the city of Chicago. It's their own brand of water, sourced from the expansive freshwater body that is Lake Michigan. And it's processed through the city's water treatment plants. So in other words, it's canned tap water. So they're going to do a limited run of Chicagwa that'll be packaged in cans featuring 6 colorful designs created by local artists, from a hot dog on a boat to a depiction of Chicago's historic water tower. And according to the Chicago Tribune, they'll start unveiling this beginning of May. The cans will actually be given away for free all throughout the summer, and then you can get them in places such as the Wiener Circle and Manny's Delicatessen. Now, it's important to note that it's only going to be offered for a limited time. And according to the website that came up from it, it's actually was canned in a local brewery. And it was sanctioned by Mayor Lightfoot. It's sort of a way to support Michigan, rather, as a viable source of hydration for the city. And I love it. If you go and check out the campaign, you can see it now at drinkchicagua.com.
Okay.
So, of course, I'll put the links of it into the show notes. I love its Instagram page where it simply says, "This water ain't from an exotic island or from some fancy glacier. It's from Chicago."
This is a walking stereotype right now.
Now, I do have to say, the cans are really beautifully designed. And it does reflect a lot of the great street art that makes Chicago unique. So what do you think?
What do I think?
Would you be rushing out to get your latest can of Chicagwa? Chicagwa.
As a novelty? Sure. Yeah, I would. Curiosity, maybe. Yeah, I would probably, just to support Chicago and the arts and the creative form and, format of being able to put together. Yeah, I'm intrigued by the fact they wanted to see if this would, bounce against the wall and stick. Yeah, I would try it once, twice, but, seriously, it's tap water. And as a person who has grew up his entire life, around Lake Michigan, I have seen the things that have come out of that lake. I know the random things and the random fish that have come up upside down. So once again, it's tap water. And this is probably, Mayor Lightfoot's way of telling you to drink the tap water and stay home. Don't bring your dirty little selves into the city.
Now, it's funny that you should say that about, stuff coming out of Lake Michigan.
Oh, boy.
Because to be fair, according to The Guardian and other sources, Mayor Lightfoot has been criticized for launching this campaign, mainly because of the fact, unfortunately, there has been issues with lead pipes delivering toxic access to water to homes throughout the Chicagoland area. In fact, there was one person who this is a quote from Gina Ramirez, and she is over the Chicago office of the National Resource Defense Council, where she said that we need less Chicagua and more political will to get the lead out of our drinking water. And she notes that an estimated, and this is insane, 400,000 homes in Chicago still have lead lines delivering water from the street. She goes on to say that so many people in my community buy bottled water because they just don't trust their taps. So that is true. And I think maybe it might be interesting, although they are giving it for free, maybe even rationing off some of this in order to use that money to repair, the lead pipes leading into places like Pilsen, for example. I know that they've historically had that issue. Pilsen, by the way, if you're not from the Chicagoland area, is a noted Chicago neighborhood, one of the over 77 neighborhoods that is in the city.
Yeah.
So I think you might be onto something. But on the other hand, I think given what the city has gone through and kind of promoting Lake Michigan, and hopefully if they were able to turn this into a legitimate discussion about clean water and as a source for the city, they might be onto something.
I want to agree with you, and I like the concept of if this is indeed what they want to do, but I would take away the word tap.
No. I actually admire the fact they do this, because come on, how much of the water that we get in bottles is nothing more than fancy tap water anyway? At least you know what you're getting.
Yeah, but at the same time, lie to me.
So you want them not to tell you where it comes from.
Yes, it could be tap water, wink, wink. But just, tell me it's like some purified, from the waters of Lake Michigan, like, as opposed to Lake Minnetonka. Right. It could be like, acidity, like, if it comes out of a brewery, yeah, just go ahead and lie to me. Trust me. Chicago is always willing to be down with lies.
You know what, though? I can appreciate their honesty. And the way the ad campaign is, they're very honest. They're like, look, either you get it from us, you open your tap, or you get it from a hose. It's all the same. It's Chicagua. I love it that they're not selling it to us. But people would buy it.
I'm just saying, beige water ain't exactly as sexy.
It's not beige. I've seen people drink it on TV.
On TV.
Well, you know what? I'm hoping to go into the city because we haven't been to the Wiener Circle in a while. So maybe we can go and get our own can. And if we do, we will try it on the air. And Big Daddy's looking at me like, no, we're not trying it live on the air.
No.
I've had Chicago tap water plenty of times. It's fine. At least the ones I've drank.
Yeah, like I said, I'm willing to purchase it, and I'm willing to, help a good cause. Yeah,
but it's free. It's not purchased. They're just giving it out as promotion.
Okay, and that's their second mistake. Mass reduce that, make a little change and help, fund putting together to help these lead pipe adjustments, because this is what Chicago needs, amongst other things. I'm sorry, Chicago.
Well, I wish them the best of luck in the campaign. I will put a link to the notes. If you haven't checked out their Instagram page, I'll put a link to the Instagram page as well, because it is the artwork that they have on the cans are quite beautiful. And it is reminiscent of the street art that you'll find in every neighborhood that sort of makes it unique. Mm-hmm. So I like that they did that. But yeah, I guess Big Daddy's saying he doesn't mind drinking it as long as you lie to him.
Yeah, lie to me. I don't care if it's exactly the same water. If you literally, like, however it's packaged to me,
right?
I don't care if it's exactly comes from the exact same place. I don't care if it really is tap water. Lie to me and say it's like purified drinking water, and you'll get more people to drink it. Even if it is, yes, from Chicago. My accent is so horrible.
Well, speaking of taste, this last story, I gotta say, it's my favorite story of all time that we've covered on the show. And we've covered some crazy ass stuff. So,
breath?
Cheez-Its, which, by the way, is one of my favorite snack crackers ever.
She goes after Cheez-Its like Cookie Monster.
I'm serious. We're no longer allowed to buy Cheez-Its because I could clear a box of Cheez-Its in like 2 days. It's embarrassing. Like, you come in and you'll see the empty box on the dining room table and you'll be like, we just bought this. You know the problem is Cheez-Its are small and they're deceptively small, so you don't realize how much you're eating. And cheese is like crack to me, so I really like it.
I'm just saying, are you in a recovery program?
I am, because we don't normally buy Cheez-Its. That said, I'm going to get this just so I can have it.
Okay.
But then I don't want to eat it because it's like a limited edition.
I guess I'm intrigued because sometimes I don't even know, because I'm not a Cheez-Its person, but sometimes a goober will have a box of Cheez-Its and she'll go through like 2/3 of the box and then hand me the box and be like,
take this away from me.
Take this away from me. Get rid of this.
And I'm like, he has this look of confusion like, I don't understand your addiction.
No. And then there comes this moment, like, I will acquiesce and say, okay, because I see the 2/3 of the box are gone.
Right.
And then I'll put it somewhere, and then, like, a little while later, she'll come at me like Pookie from New Jack City.
Not Pookie from New New Jack City.
Like,
damn.
It's
I'm
like,
not that bad.
she's like, where's the box, man?
I'm like scratching myself.
Yeah.
I need another cheesy hit.
And I'm like, what's going on with you? I'm like, don't you know crack is whack? And she's like, where did you put your cheeses, man? One time I think she threatened me with a butter knife.
I did not threaten you with a butter knife. Don't tell them that.
Hey. I'm not saying, but I'm saying. Anyway.
So anyway, Cheez-Its, my favorite snack, has developed a collaboration with, of all people, the streaming service Pandora to create what they call the first ever sonically aged cheese snack. So the proper name of this snack is Cheez-Its by Pandora aged by audio crackers.
Okay.
So the idea behind this is that this is Cheez-Its, which is made with real cheese. And the cheese has been aged using exclusively a blend of hip-hop music.
Okay. Radio silence. And then,
You looked at me like, this does not compute.
yes.
So let me explain. So the idea of aging certain food items, like alcoholic beverages, is not particularly uncommon. So, for example, there are several types of beer that have been aged to the sound of the Wu-Tang Clan, right? And Metallica actually has their own brand of whiskey with a patent-pending sonic enhancement system that, according to Food and Wine, is called Black Noise. Okay? So, this is actually a limited run promotional item to encourage people to eat more Cheez-Its, of course.
Okay.
So, the brand actually cited a 2019 study from Bern University of the Arts in Switzerland that suggested that aging cheese to hip-hop can potentially strengthen the taste and smell of the cheese. So they got together with Pandora and they said, hey, we would like to find rap music similar to the songs that was used in this study. And the cheese used for the crackers were then aged to the tunes for 6.5 months, and we can purchase the results later this month. Month. I keep saying much. I'm thinking about eating the Cheez-Its. So beginning on May 26th, you can actually go to Cheez-Its own online shop, which is cheezitshq.com, and I'll put the link in the notes. And you will be able to get your own box. And just so you know, they're not releasing what songs yet that was used as part of the aging process. What's going to happen is on May 26th, they're going to roll out a link to the playlist. But they are letting us know some of the artists that was used in the aging of the cheese.
Okay.
So, including the artists were A Tribe Called Quest, LL Cool J, the Beastie Boys, and Snoop Dogg.
Okay. That's an eclectic group of artists. Hip hop. I'm a big fan, but okay, I'm intrigued.
Okay, so first of all, what do you think about this? I mean, do you? I know that you are not a fan of Cheez-Its. I think we've already established that, but you do love hip hop. So much so that my Christmas gift to you was actually this really great book called Contact High, which is, I can't recommend it enough. It's sort of like a coffee table book about the beginning of hip hop. And they have like hundreds of photos of all of these legends from Queen Latifah to Run DMC and beyond.
Yeah, Sugar
in their
Hill
early
Gang.
days.
Yeah, like, we're talking about like from the origins of hip hop, all the way, I guess, to the mid 2000s and maybe a little forward. Yeah, it gave a great anthology and, photos that, unguarded photos of people in places that you wouldn't have expected. But it was actually kind of cool. I very much appreciate the Goober for introducing me to that. Now, back to this story. I mean, I'm intrigued by the artist. I guess I'm more intrigued by the process and how the cheeses, how they're affected by, the playing of this music.
Well, I think the way they do it is as they're going through the aging process, it's actually they're playing a steady stream of hip hop. So the vibrations, I mean, I'm pretty sure it doesn't, I mean, it's cheese, right? So it doesn't really know lyrically the difference between a world tour from A Tribe Called Quest to Mama Said Knock You Out by LL Cool J. But I think it's the different beats that are affecting the stages in which the cheese ages. And it's overall playing into that.
I guess I'm intrigued because you would go from like something like, I guess, like some old school like Tribe, like, I left my wallet in El Segundo, which kind of has that, like, kind of, nice little rhythm, nice little underground, so, with the little herb feel. Then you have, like, Mama Said Knock You Out or Future of the Funk, like, type LL. Of course, then, like, the frenetic pace of the Beastie Boys. And, like, I guess it was almost like techno or rock, hard, edge beat. And then you would go all the way over to, like, Snoop Dogg, which is, like, I mean, it's a totally different vibe, And then, of course, if you think about Snoop and the things that the cooking that Snoop Dogg does, I'm thinking, man, I might get a contact high from eating, the cheese off that.
Okay, now it's important to know Snoop is not involved with any of this or the other people, just the music, okay?
Right.
So I imagine no one's toking around the cheese, first of all.
We all know that.
But then second of all, that does bring up a good point, right? Because with someone like Snoop Dogg, he's had a very wide career. So what version of Snoop Dogg are you playing, right? Are you playing, Murder Was the Case That They Gave Me Snoop Dogg? Are you playing gospel album Snoop Dogg? Or are you playing Uncle Snoop where, some of that music that, drop it like it's hot, Snoop?
Yeah.
Because all of that is like completely different.
Like, What's My Name, or like, G Thing, or like, I'm trying to remember his name. I'm trying to remember the name of the song he did with Uncle Charlie Wilson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So depending on what that is, I imagine you would get a much different style of Cheez-Its, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm just intrigued by the beat. I'm like, are we going with like a bass beat? Or are we going with like, technical, like, drop beats? We're going with like a Dre beat, or are we going with like, like a P. Diddy Puff beat? I guess I guess in my mind, I'm kind of going all over the place. Like, we talking like a Def Jam type, underground beat.
I'm not really sure they're getting all deep into that, but you know what? They could be. Because going back to, for example, the example I gave earlier with Wu-Tang. Yeah. And, and researching the story, because we usually, just to kind of tell you guys how the sausage is made on the podcast, before we actually go on mic, even though a lot of the stuff that you hear is totally unscripted, and I mean totally unscripted, okay?
Yeah, I'm making it up.
But we do some research in the stories that we cover, and I guess Wu-Tang and beer has had a long relationship. So, for example, there is a company out of Philadelphia that is called the Dock Street Brewing Company, and they developed back in 2015 something that's called Ain't Nothing to Funk With. And it was a Wu-Tang inspired golden ale that was developed by being aged in 6 months in a barrel with a Wu-Tang Clan Spotify playlist rocking nonstop.
No, I can hear, as you know, you can hear the beer hops being influenced by hip hop, and I could hear the different melodies kind of punch in and out, like that kind of funky little, I guess, like Wu-Tang Shaolin beat, kind of overtaking it. I guess because it's frenetic too in parts. That I could maybe see it.
Yeah. So it's not a new idea, although I'm not a beer drinker, but I am intrigued by the idea of drinking something that's been aged or developed to the 36 chambers. I think that would just be completely dope.
Yeah. But then, of course, I know we, just before we came on, when you first brought this to my attention, we were talking about the meats, right?
Yeah. And I was asking you because Big Daddy, even though I do most of the cooking in the house, when it comes to cooking big meats, smoking things, that's more your expertise. And so I was asking you, would you do something similar? If you dry age some Wagyu or something, or, if in cooking and smoking, if you had a chance to smoke something for several days, really break it down, what would be on your playlist? Would you do that?
Well, I guess my first question to that would be this is almost do you have McDonald's money? Do I have Wiggle money?
Well, if enough of you subscribe to the newsletter, maybe.
Yeah, I was you want to butter my hand? Then,
just talking to the audience there.
Yes, but no. I guess in terms of the playlist, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wouldn't use hip hop. I'm sorry. I'm thinking in terms of dead meat. First and foremost, am I gonna start punching the meat, tenderizing it, to the theme of Rocky? Probably not. But I was telling the Goober, if I'm smoking some meats, I need some good, slow, casual, sexy, I'm having inappropriate discussions with my meat.
Okay, this sounds disturbing.
Yes, I am. But no.
Should we put an explicit rating on this episode?
No, I'm not gonna take it. I'm not gonna take it too dirty.
That's a very white play.
That's right. In the background, I'm gonna have some Luther Vandross, never too much, never too much. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have some Teddy P. I'm gonna bring out some good old school
You're gonna have some Marvin Gaye play.
That's right. Bring out some Marvin Gaye. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I got it. I'm gonna play the Eyes of the Brothers.
No.
That's right. I'm smoking my meat to Eyes of the Brothers.
So I'm gonna come in, and if I hear Between the Sheets, it's either a romantic night for us, or you smoking some meat.
That's right. Drifting on a memory. There's no place I'd rather be. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, I might get into this beer thing myself. Wait a minute, can I get some Cheez-Its? Wait a minute, I might start a little side hustle of my own.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I'm gonna make some crackers. I'm gonna make my own Ritz crackers. I got some ideas here.
I think this is the first time I've introduced a story that I'm almost sorry I did now.
Yeah, you can't pull it back now. You have planted the seed, and now I'm about to take it and run with it. Okay, I see what you're going here.
I'm gonna come home from doing groceries or picking up groceries or something, and I'm gonna hear knocking the boots, and I'll be like, "Oh my God, is he with this meat again?" Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna take some ribs, and we're gonna be I'm gonna be playing some some silk.
Okay, this is too disturbing now. Why don't we take a break?
In my bedroom.
Wow, so close after our anniversary. That's
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. What happened to your marriage? You said irreconcilable differences. He got a little too close to the brisket.
That's right.
Don't hold my hand now. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we will talk about
the best thing we ate this week. If the gourmet goober can recover.
So you're listening to the Gourmet Goober podcast. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Carrie.
And I'm Emily.
And we're the hosts of A Dark Cup of History, a spin-off series to our regular podcast, A Nice Cup of History, where we dive headfirst into the weird and paranormal aspects of the world we all live in.
If you want to know your woman in red from your woman in white, or precautions to take against demonic dolls, and just where to go to find Black Shuck on a moonlit night, why not give us a listen?
Together we talk about the dark, creepy, and downright terrifying parts of our history and folklore, as well as what you should do if you ever encounter any of them.
Interested? Come and find us on Buzzsprout, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and pretty much anywhere else you'll get your podcasts.
So turn on the lights, grab a blanket and some rock salt,
and let's get dark.
Hey, I'm JJ Outlaw.
Hi, it's T Outlaw.
And we are back with the last segment of the Gourmet Goober podcast. This is when we review the best thing we ate this week. So this covers everything from recipes that we make at home to restaurant grub that we pick out when we're out and about. But as always, we share it with you in the hopes that you can enjoy it yourself. Now, if anything that we mention today tickles your fancy, just know you can always hit the show notes in the show and find out where to get it. And we want to hear from you, listeners, as what's the best thing you ate this week. So just hit us up, send us a quick email at thegourmetgoober@gmail.com, and maybe we will share your choice on the show. So as always, we start this segment with Big Daddy. Da, 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 da.
That's me.
So tell me, what's the best thing you ate since the last time we were on the mic?
Okay. I'm going to start this with this story. This is almost like, Eddie Murphy doing like an impersonation of Bill Cosby. So I'm going to tell you a story.
Maybe Bill Cosby's not a good choice.
But I'm doing Eddie Murphy impersonating Bill Cosby, so I figured that was my way of covering it up.
Could you just do you doing Eddie Murphy? With all the cussing?
No.
Not that there's anything wrong with cuss. We swear all the time. It's just we're working on the project that...
I'm working on my Christianity.
We're trying to be nice for a project that we're working on. Yeah. And that's all we're saying.
Anyway, I'm going to tell you a story. Filth, blarn, filth.
Really?
Yes. Anyway, so the story goes like this. So on Friday, May 13th, I'm very specific because it was Friday the 13th, I just happened to randomly say to the goober at a certain point, no, she reminded me that it was Friday the 13th,
Yes, that we should leave out milk and cookies for Jason.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, this isn't Christmas, so we're not gonna get crazy about some milk and cookies. But no, I said, okay, we can do some milk and cookies, or I remember a few times that during the Friday the 13th occasions that there would be one of our favorite little bakeries over in Valparaiso happens to turn around and do their little expression in homage to Friday the 13th by making up little cupcakes and or other pastries to represent the movie Friday the 13th.
With Jason Voorhees' face on it.
With Jason Voorhees' face on it, and or I guess they had a new wrinkle with Camp Crystal Lake on part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
They're fabulous.
So anyway, this has nothing to do with the best thing I ate this week. No. I'm always a big fan of Designer Desserts in Valparaiso. They also have another another place in Cherryville, but this is about the Valparaiso area. Anyway, so the Goober and I take this little trip, and we hit up Lincoln Highway in Valparaiso, grab our favorite little cupcakes, and, for me, I always like to get my cookie, because, I love them cookies. And oddly enough, the Goober happened to notice this random little shop or a little restaurant, like maybe a couple doors down. It was called, unless I'm wrong, Smoketown Blues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just happened to be this random little spot that happened to be a couple doors down from the Design Desserts. So the Goober says, this is new. Used to be another restaurant. We're hangry. So let's go in and see what they have. So we walk in, and oddly enough, they literally just opened.
Right.
And we're like, so what can we do? And I mean, like, at this point, they were still doing, like, carry out and or delivery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They hadn't yet opened for dining. That was this week.
Right. So we were like, okay, we feel bad, that we're, in your spot. Plus, we were like, we came in a little earlier than, like, the opening time.
Right. It was after 3, and we came in. It
was
opens at 4.
Right.
Yeah.
And we came in about 3. But the staff there was extremely nice to us, and they're like, well, I guess since you're here for, we can, do a carry-out order for you. And so I'm like, all right, cool. Guess we'll see what you have on your menu. So I had a sandwich called a primetime beef brisket sandwich, and they have a nice selection of sauces. And so I picked that up. Goober picked up, I believe it was a pulled pork sandwich.
Right.
And to make a long story short, brought it home, dove into it, and you know how I am about my briskets. I'm very particular. Not saying I'm a master or anything like that, but I like to try my briskets. And I'm saying this was it was a pretty decent brisket sandwich from Valparaiso, Indiana. I'm not saying it was like supremely smoked. Like, I'm not saying it was like top class, but for what was there, I was actually pleasantly surprised. It was actually a neat, clean sandwich. I mean, it had the right amount of meat to ratio of bread. It had like an onion ring topping, and the sauce was actually really good. Now, granted, I'm a big fan of doing a good brisket without sauce, but the sauce actually was a great accentuation. I'm sorry, a great compliment. And I think mine was more it was kind of a homemade, I want to say like a homemade kind of Jack.
It was a Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah, it was a Tennessee whiskey, kind of like a Jack Daniels type, but it was more homemade, and it actually had like a really nice set of notes to it, and it really helped out and or lifted up the flavor of the brisket. And I have to honestly say, it was the best thing I ate this week.
Yay! Woo-woo! Let me just take a moment to give a shout out to Maria and the rest of the team at Smoketown Blues. Because when we say we came in hella early, we didn't even realize we're so storks. We just walked in and we didn't even notice the sign clearly said open at 4, right? And it was after 3.
Yeah.
And she's just like, yeah, it's totally no problem. She started the grill. She got us something to drink. She topped us off with that. Like you said, I got the pulled pork, as well as they had something called smack and cheese instead of mac and cheese. The smack and cheese was cheese, mac and cheese that was flavored that was hit up with some ghost pepper cheese. And let me tell you, that stuff was good. Crazy good. And you know I'm a mac and cheese aficionado.
Yes,
right?
you are.
So what I say is good mac and cheese is good mac and cheese, and I liked it. And also my sauces, and she said she makes all the sauces from scratch. My sauce was like this cherry chipotle with real cherries in it. How delicious is that? And I tried a bit of the brisket, and oh my gosh, that brisket was next level good. Now, let me just say, if Big Daddy is very tough on brisket, like, I don't know where he gets his, like, supreme taste of brisket, but when he says it's a good brisket, it's a good brisket.
Yeah.
He is extremely picky. So he shocked me when he said this was like the best thing you ate this week. Because, like I said, you're like hard on and stuff. There's like celebrity chef whose briskets he's tried that Big Daddy was not a fan of.
No, it's not.
There's one in particular that's based out of Chicago who will not go named, but this person is on television every weekend. And we give him the stink eye when we see him.
I am offended by your sauce.
Because his sauce was awful. It was like runny and didn't have a lot of flavor. But yeah, compliments to Mariah and her team because her sauces were next level. Now, to be fair, I didn't try the Tennessee whiskey one because you said that had real whiskey. And for people who listen to the show, you know that I have this like weird genetic thing that I cannot handle any alcohol whatsoever. But I did want to try it because it smells so good. But
yeah, it did have a good smell to it. And let me be clear. I'm not saying with 100% certainty that they're serving you like alcohol through the sauce, but it definitely from the taste, like it definitely, you can tell that they really tried to replicate the Tennessee whiskey type flavor. And it almost tasted like, yeah, they took a little bit of whiskey and tried to cook it through the sauce, and most of it cooked out, to my knowledge. But yeah, it was pretty damn good. And I would also like to say, for the record, also to the people that work there, the staff, they were really, really nice to us. They didn't have to be.
They were amazing. Oh my God. So, if you're in Valparaiso, Indiana, two things. One, dude, get thee over to Designer Desserts. They have the best cupcakes on the planet. Bar none. I love them. They're totally nice. And if you're there and you find the 13th, get the Jason Voorhees cupcake. They change it up every year. Oh my God. One year, remember, they had like a little knife and you cut open and like red jam came out to look like blood.
Yeah.
I'm a horror geek, so I love it. But cannot recommend them enough. That said, apparently Myra also bakes cakes, and she was showing us cakes that she has done in the past, and they look crazy good. So we're gonna have to check them out.
Okay, and this is from the smokehouse.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely, I'm so glad that you chose them, because I almost chose them as the best thing I ate this week, and I have to say, their Smoketown Blues is definitely one of the better barbecue places that I've had since moving to Northwest Indiana.
Yeah, it was a good spot.
Yeah. So, congratulations to them. And like I said, I'll put all the information in the show notes. And yeah, definitely go check them out because they are brand new and I think they're just opening up their dining service this week. So, for me, the best thing I ate this week actually, believe it or not, came from Gino's Steakhouse in Maryville.
Really?
Where we went for our anniversary. Yeah.
It's our anniversary. Just you and me.
Yeah, Gino's is kind of like a local legend in our area. How long have they been around? They've been around for a while, right? Gino's Steakhouse? Didn't you tell me they used to be there when you were younger and lived in the area?
I mean, maybe not in that specific location, because I remember there was another property there. I want to believe it was like a random bar that was there before Gino's Steakhouse moved in, but They became very popular. Like once Gino moved in. But yeah, the steakhouse it was excellent. I cannot recommend a couple of their steaks a great deal. I mean, we paid money, but they were damn good steaks.
Yeah, well, the thing with Gino's, they're open for lunch and dinner. I had, gosh, what did I have? I had their 24 ounce bone-in ribeye steak.
Man, I paid for a 24-ounce bone-in ribeye?
Yeah, you did.
All right.
And it was amazing. I ordered mine. I ordered mine medium like I normally do. It was cooked to perfection. It was wonderfully seasoned. It came with this ginormous, tasty caramelized whole onion, which was crazy because usually when you get caramelized onions, they're like the little ones.
Yeah.
No, this was like a giant, full caramelized onion. I was shocked. And then I got what was known as the double baked potatoes, which had cheese and bacon, and it was, every bite was just amazing. But yeah, that steak was the steak that I woke up dreaming of. I'm not kidding. I wasn't able to finish it because, it was 24 ounces, but when I went to bed that night, I wound up dreaming about the steak. I'm not even kidding.
You were dreaming about the steak.
I was dreaming about the steak. So much so that I got up and I skipped breakfast. I just had steak for breakfast. But yes, I did it.
Okay.
And I do it again.
You did not have cereal and Crocs.
No, I had steak. Steak and double baked potato for breakfast.
Okay.
And I admit that without shame. And then I finished it off with the other cupcake.
The Goober was putting in work early in the morning.
I'm a grown-ass woman. I can eat what I want for breakfast. That morning I wanted that.
Guess so.
But seriously, you know how you mentioned earlier, how you have like a good brisket, you can eat it without sauce.
Yes.
You have a really primo steak when you don't need anything on it, like steak sauce or anything. It's just perfect on its own. And I have to say, the steaks at Gino's Steakhouse, it's well worth the money. So.
You know what? That actually makes a very good point. I'm not like a huge steak person, but I gotta admit, if you have a really good steak in your repertoire as a restaurant, and you put steak sauce on the table, then I'm leaving. Not that in any way the Geno's did this. They did not. But I gotta admit, a good steak never requires steak sauce of any kind.
Yes, and this was an incredible steak. So it was a wonderful dinner. Everyone there treated us just so incredibly well. The staff is there. I do have to let you know, if you go on a Friday or Saturday night, they build in the gratuity. So that's something to consider depending on where you go. When you go, rather. Okay. But yes, the steakhouse, the Gino Steakhouse in Maryville, Indiana, is now one of my new faves.
Alrighty, cool. Now now I know where my money goes.
You were there. Didn't you like your steak?
I did. I had a New York strip.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, except mine was well done. No, actually, it was medium well.
Yes, and I was very proud of you for doing that. You didn't nuke it.
Yeah. Also, I finished mine because I'm not a quitter.
That is true.
Yeah.
I guess I'm proud of you for that.
No, I mean, nothing against it. Like, if you put like a 24-ounce steak in front of me, yeah, I probably would have a problem finishing it also. But at the same time, I'm like, my mama told me a long time ago, if somebody puts a really good, piece of meat in front of you, sometimes it's not even as good later. So you just do your best to finish that steak as soon as you get it, as warm as you get it, and, put in the work. Because, a good steak is worth the wait.
Well, on that note, let me just take an opportunity to say thank you for listening to the Gourmet Goober podcast. Big Daddy, where can they catch you?
You can find me on Twitter at TOutlaw, that's TOUTLAW, and on Instagram at TOutlawJolie.
Jelly?
I cannot believe I screwed that up. I never screwed up. You can find me on Instagram at TOutlawJosieWells.
Yes. And for me, JJ Outlaw, you can always find me on Twitter at JJ Outlaw. You can find me on Instagram at Gourmet Goober. Please be sure to visit the Gourmet Goober at Gmail. Or no, send us a line at the Gourmet Goober at gmail.com and visit thegourmetgoober.com where you can do everything from check out our Goober swag to support the podcast to signing up for our newsletter, Gooberland, which will drop later this year. So on behalf of Big Daddy and I, we definitely want to say thank you for listening. We're so super excited because hopefully we'll have some news in the mix for you too. But in the meantime, until you listen to us again, happy eating.